Hi guys, and here we go for another one. Can you hear me? I'm just wondering, can you hear me? I think there's a few people in. Just let me know if you can hear what's going on. Yeah, there's two people in. Hi Joe, hi Jay, how are you doing? Nice to see you both. Hopefully we'll have a few more, but I don't expect huge numbers at the moment. We've only just started this, and just let me know if you can hear me, guys, and then I can get straight on with this. And hopefully, you've all had a great day, as I have, and a bit tired now, though. But we need to do some stuff here in this Burnley save. Okay, thanks, Joe. Thanks, CJ. Nice to see you, CJ. And today we're going to be playing in game weeks 2 and 3. And where we left off, we are exactly where we left off. Last time we had just beaten Huddersfield, 1-0. We absolutely blasted them, really, in terms of possession. We had almost 70% possession. We created all the chances, but on target only 33%. And so if we can finish creating the chances that we are creating in this style that we're playing, it will be absolutely brilliant. But unfortunately, FM is doing what FM does. And whilst I have players who are wanted, Charlie Taylor, Josh Brownhill, all worth plenty of money, then they are doing... Hi, Saki, how are you doing? So they are both worth plenty of money and could solve all my problems if one or both of them were to be sold. But FM is doing what FM does, and it is not going to allow these players to be sold unless I transfer list them. And then if I transfer list them, the kind of money that I'm going to get for them is going to drop drastically. FM does that, so I'm going to have to play a waiting game for a while and see if somebody does come in for them. And then if somebody does, then maybe we can bring in a striker who's capable of scoring goals. Top scorer... It's well, we've scored one. And we create chances. We're set up very nicely. We create chances, but this team is probably the worst finishing team in the championship. And so if we can't finish, then although this actually should be a stroll in the park, this save, Burnley. And if you look at the actual team that we have and look at our ratings here as they are star rated for ourselves and the division, they are a very, very good team. It drops off around here. And in terms of strikers, we just don't have strikers. I have decided to give this geezer a chance today, Dervisoglu, who can play as a striker. I don't want him playing as an advanced forward because he just doesn't have enough pace. So I thought I would try him as a complete forward. He looks like he might be able to do the job as a complete forward. The only problem with that, playing him as a complete forward, is that he might tend to wander out wide, and maybe we need to keep an eye on that because we have several players who are operating out wide, although on this side we are going to be playing with the underlap. As you know, this tactic works well on the underlap. And Gobby was one of the subscribers was asking me today that this tactic is blowing teams away, and I explained to him how it works. It's very simple, and it all revolves around the DLP. Everything revolves around him, and Balick was good. This is our only signing so far, and bringing in Balick was a good move because he has 15 passing, 14 vision, defensively very sound, marking 15, tackling 15, good mentals. And so he's an ideal candidate to sit in the hole there and to control the game. What I've decided to do is ask him to take more risks. He will tackle harder, mark tighter. He will sit in the hole here. and mop up things. And that allows me to continue to play a box-to-box, and we'll play with a winger on this side, an inverted winger on that side. And when the inverted winger goes forward or the shadow striker moves into the channels here, we will have the full back underlapping, and we will also have the winger underlapping. If we have the winger moving outside, then the shadow striker will underlap and the fullback will underlap. On this side, we have a winger coming inside. He'll work in this space, and then that allows the fullback to bomb up. So we are going to create space, and we saw against Huddersfield that we are creating chances. We just don't have someone who's going to score goals, and that's throughout the team. The central mids, they are very poor finishers. Even Bielik, who's just come in, he's only got finishing of 5. So really, I don't want Bielik doing what I had my DLP in the Preston save, wandering about up here. I'm just going to have him sit in the hole. And so we're going to continue with what we've been doing, and that's basically to hold our shape. And we are not going to be throwing bodies around the pitch. We're going to hold our shape. We're going to press them high up the pitch. But when possession's been won, we're not just going to allow people to bomb off down the pitch, because we are playing very short. I've upped it a little bit. I had it on there against Huddersfield, and I've upped it a little bit to give them a little bit more freedom. We are playing fairly narrow, so that should fit with the fairly narrow. I don't want them dribbling. I want them to be more disciplined, keep in shape, and just pass the ball around and to work it into the box then, because the nearer we can get the goal, the better we're actually going to perform, I think. We have to get the ball in here. There's no point in taking shots from outside the box. They're just simply not going in. We saw that in pre-season. We saw it against Huddersfield. They've got to be more disciplined, more patient, and work it into the box. Really, what we have to do is get numbers up here, and that's, I think, what we're trying to do, especially on the right-hand side. We will have 4 going forward, 3 going forward on the right-hand side, and then we'll have Vitinho, the fullback, on the left-hand side. So we could, hopefully, if we're playing positive, then we will hopefully have 6 or 7 people in this space, and hopefully that's enough getting into the box to score the goals. The nearer to the goal we are, the better chance we have of scoring. That's the theory. Whether it's good enough without a striker who can score goals, I don't know. I don't know. Hi, Stuart. How are you doing? Just won the Carabao Cup on my Burnley game. How did you solve, Stuart? How did you solve this striker business? Because they are the worst finishers in the league. Did you bring a striker in? Because I am having real trouble bringing a striker in. And their finishing is absolutely appalling. This is what I've struggled with. And so, yeah, if we look at the schedule today, we're going to be playing against Luton, who are predicted to finish in 13. And then we have a really tough game. We're going to be playing against Watford, and I think they are predicted to finish first. So Luton, who are predicted to finish in 13th, we should be beating them. Worries me that we're not finishing well, but Watford, we may need to have some sort of game plan, and it just might be we need to frustrate Watford and see if we can't sneak one. I'm a bit further in the future. I'm in 229. Oh, okay, so you took over Burnley later on in your save. Okay, yeah, because Burnley at the moment, they are dreadful in terms of the finishing. If we go to the comparison and we look at finishing, it's absolutely awful. Finishing, they are 16th in the league in finishing. Their composure is not much better in terms of attack. They also lack leadership, and whilst this all looks really pretty, if we actually look at their strikers, it gets really poor. Look at their technical ability. Finishing, they are 16th. Even the strikers finishing 23rd in the 23rd in the championship. That's how poor their finishing is. Their heading and jumping reach is just as bad. So in terms of the team that we have, it's a brilliant team. Great passing team, great pressing team, just can't score goals. Tesgal, he was at Leeds and my game came from Stoke. Yeah, one of the things I have to do is find a striker. Bringing Balick in has hammered my transfer budget. I desperately need to sign one of those, to sell one of those big players. Charlie Taylor, I would let him go. If we could get 10 mil for him, I'd let him go. That means I could solve problems. I could bring in a replacement. We already have on loan a fullback who's going to need playing time, and he's a pretty good player. So it's pointless having two first-team fullback, and then I need to buy a striker with the money I could get in. Josh Brownhill. He's a good player, but he is wanted. If Wolves come in for him and offer me 10 mil, then I take it. But the only problem is I won't get all that money. I will only get a proportion of it. So this is not as easy as it looks. It's nowhere near as easy as it looks, this save. Burnley should be coasting, but I don't think we are going to coast it. So at the moment, we are sitting on the top of the league. And that is going to change. Harwood Bellis, relentless in defence. Let's just say, yeah, I'm really pleased you scored. Keep it up. And so we are going to not be top of the league for much longer because the rest of the teams in the championship are going to play their games today. We're particularly interested to see how Luton get on and Watford, because that will mean that following training are currently without a coach. Oh, my assistant can deal with that for now. And Jackson reporter Roach signs a new deal. Couple of youngsters. Balick, I do hate these, but if I click decline, then what will probably happen is that he won't be very pleased with me. So we'll go give the traditional answers. I'm delighted to be able to welcome in here. Could he prove to be a foundation? These questions, I wish they'd change them. I think they do have a psychological impact on the player. I think he's a top quality. I'm certainly confident he will deliver. Are you confident he'll produce? I've just told you that. I certainly hope he can make a big contribution. How do you anticipate? Myself and the squad are delighted. I hope they are. Christian Balick joins an already large squad. Yeah, I appreciate the fans' concern, but we needed a DLP. And I had to bring in a DLP. Do you think you have too many players in defensive midfield? That's something I'm working to balance out. And are you confident that he will justify his price tag? It was 2.4 million. Yeah. It's quality. That's why he's come here. I actually like this guy, Christian Balick. He served me well in FM22, so I'm hoping that he's going to do the job in FM23 as well. I really think this could be the move that gets him going. I do think these questions are silly, but I do think they have a psychological effect on the player. He's very positive at the moment. Can he go? The sky's the limit for him. He's 24 years old. Very similar comparison. Well, Westwood's going to play on the wing. So I don't know. These questions sometimes don't match what your plans are, and they don't allow you to thrilled with the new signings. I actually never said that, did I? I actually said that I'm delighted. Yeah, I suppose thrilled. So we're particularly interested in Luton and Watford at this point. This is going to change from first because we're not going to be first. And there we are. We've gone down to 8th, so obviously the scores are in. And Luton and drew with Birmingham. Birmingham, who are predicted to finish right down the bottom. So Luton, is that a good result for them? Probably not. Okay, we're doing all right. In 9th place now, and all the big boys, Middlesbrough, Cardiff. Oh, look, Preston won. Preston had a very good win, beating Wigan away 1-0. And that's good news for Preston. So, at the moment, what we've got to do is set up for Luton. And we will play Hull 6, Bristol City 1. Hull, good attack with Hull. So, Luton is in 5-6 days, so we're plenty of time. And the first thing I will do is look at my training, and is my training set up for this properly? We're going to do chance conversion, and that's going to be part of our training setup constantly. And then we will do, so we are doing, where is that gone? Well, where is plans? Okay, I see what it is. So we're going to do, on Sunday, we're going to do some chance conversion work. And then we'll go into possession. We need to be practicing possession. We're going to be pressing hard, so we're going to be doing a lot of pressing work. We'll do our set piece work. And then once we know about Luton, we'll fill up Thursday. And that's the plan. And again, it is the plan for the Watford game, and we will be doing transition work. We'll be doing set piece work. We may slip in here. Perhaps I'll slip in an attacking patient because we are playing. This also needs to be worked on, and maybe here I might want to look at doing chance conversion again. So for Watford, we will be doing exactly the same things. We're focusing on the way we want to play at the moment and not anything else. Hey, Jay, you having internet problems? So basically, training is all set up. We always leave Thursday free. Thursday is opposition training day, where I will look at what Luton are like, and then we will fill up Thursday based on whether any changes are made to how we want to play. For example, if Luton are deadly from corners, then I might put in some defending corners in here so that we're getting used to defending corners if we're up against a team. This day is to basically prepare what is needed for Luton. We should be beating Luton, so we should remain positive. And in terms of how we want to play, we dominated against Huddersfield. There is no reason why we can't dominate against Luton. So we will keep the same shape. We'll keep the same passing directness and tempo. We're going to hold our shape. We're going to try and bore them to death, basically. That's how the tactic works. Very slow, very deliberate, very patient. If things are not going well, we can always slip Bielik onto a support duty. If we are dominating and can't score, this will push him further up the pitch in a support role. He'll get an extra body up there. But just for now, we know, what I do know about Luton is that they are going to counter-attack. So just for now, I want him to sit there and protect the two central defenders. So that's what we do know about Luton, is that they play in a fluid counter-attack style. And so they have these two DMs at the base of the that is their midfield. They're 2 DMs, and they're going to probably sit in a low block, and they're going to soak up pressure and then break at pace. And we have to make sure that if they do break, then we have someone available who's going to cover our 2 defenders and hopefully take them out. We're also going to be looking at them once we get their team report. We're going to look at their team report. But one of the things that I will do is go to the stats for the league. And I know it's only 1 game in, so I probably won't put much stress on that. But our passing game is working. 69%. We're top of the average possession. So that's a good sign. The boys are playing in the way that I want them to play. We're keeping the ball. And we are playing Luton. And Luton's possession was only 34. And that tells me that they're counter-attacking. Hey, Rage, hope you're well too. Hey, I'm sorry, mate. I was watching the stream back last time and I saw you came in, said hi, and I completely missed it. I haven't missed it this time. It's good to see you. Hope your day was great, and happy to have you here in the stream. Absolutely delighted to see you, mate. And so, yeah, in terms of Luton, they will sit back and they're not going to want the ball. They will score, clearly. They scored 2 goals against Birmingham on the counter-attack. So it's not that they're not able to score. They're just going to soak up what we throw at them and then break a pace. That's how they're going to play. We, on the other hand, have to stick to what we can do. And that is to play patient, passing game, keep the ball away from them, make sure we don't lose it in transition, and if we do, we need to hold our shape to be able to deal with the counter-attack. We don't want to counter-attack ourselves, because if we're sending 7 or 8 people bombing up the field and they do win it in transition, that could leave us in a whole pile of trouble. And so that's why this seems to work, because they will hold their shape, and by holding their shape they will just not bomb up the pitch thinking, hey, we've got the ball, let's counter-attack, and then leave great big holes. They'll hold their shape and be patient, waiting for an attacking opportunity rather than just be going gung-ho up and down the pitch. Counter press is necessary because we want to try and win the ball up here, and that will affect how we set up in terms of opposition instructions. So all we can do at the moment is we've set up as best we can in terms of our own training, and we'll go through the week and we hope that we don't get any injuries. That's all we can do at the moment. We need to keep our eye on the scout reports that may or may not come in, but until I have some cash, there is nothing that I can do in terms of the transfer market. Sunderland have pushed us down to 10th. They have beaten Coventry by 3-1, and so we are now in 10th. It's no big deal. It's very early in the season. I'm doing well. I'm glad you're doing. Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm still a bit worried, as I'm a pessimist. Anybody who follows my saves will know I'm a pessimist. I'm a half empty glass person rather than a half full person when it comes to football, and I just feel very pessimistic about, just like, if you've got a team that can't score goals, how can you win matches? It's incredible, this team. And FM has set people a challenge here. Even if Weghorst wasn't out on loan, he still wouldn't be the right person to come in to the side as a target forward. It wouldn't fit everything else that you have. So I'm happy with the training at the moment. I'm just now waiting for Luton's team report to come in, which should come in around about Tuesday. And then we will focus on Luton. Even though I think we are a better team than Luton, we have to... Here it is. We do now have Luton's team report in. And one of the things that I will do is I will look at this and look at their strengths and weaknesses. I'll take it with a pinch of salt, because the scout out there isn't the most highly qualified of people, but it does look to me that they're not the greatest in terms of strengths. They have a lot of weaknesses, and yeah, they just don't seem to be the greatest team in the world. Things I'm looking for is pace. They don't have any pace or acceleration, and they just don't seem to be a very, very good team at all. And it's a team that we should be beating. Even though we are not the best finishers, we should be beating this team. They're not very aggressive. The press will work. So they're not very brave. There's a lot of things that are wrong with this Luton team, and they're in more trouble than we are. And Alan Campbell is a fairly good player. He's a centre mid. Just trying to work out what he does. Passing vision. He doesn't look like a DLP to me. He looks more like a ball-winning midfielder, 14 tackling, 13 marking. Looks like a ball-winning midfielder in there. He is definitely a ball-winning midfielder. He's quite strong, and he's very brave, good tackling. He's a ball-winning midfielder. He's the man who is in form at the moment. And Luke Freeman, who has a weak right foot. He looks like he's an inverted winger, and so he's going to want to be coming inside. And a weak right foot, we're going to look at that and the value of finding things like that when we begin to set up the opposition instructions. And we're going to use that. And in conjunction with the fact that he has very little pace, he's not very brave, and he's not very strong. He's a weak right foot. He is quite composed, and he does have good crossing, and I'm surprised he might play. He might be just playing on the right hand side, but he may play on the left hand side if he might be just deputizing here. So if he's a winger, then it's clear we have to bring him inside, and also we hard tackle him. And hard tackling is probably more important than the weaker foot, because we just want to unsettle him. Although he's quite composed, he's still going to not want to be involved in any physical stuff. And so we need to hit him hard right from the beginning. And depending on how we want to play, we probably will close him down and set him onto his weaker foot. And those two things work well together, closing down and going onto the weaker foot. And especially as he's not very brave, not great acceleration, he's okay. He's not a bad player, but I think that what we want to try and do is panic him. So he's kind of in good form, and those are two people that we really need to keep an eye on. But they are not the greatest team in the world, and nothing strikes out from that I need to be too worried about. So when I look at my training, I need to just go back to the championship, and I'm going to look at the stats once again, and I'm going to look at the attacking stats, and they do score goals. And what I'm looking for is goals from direct free kicks. And where are they? Luton, they didn't score from a free kick by the look of it. No, they didn't score from a free kick. Goals from indirect free kicks. I don't think we really have much to worry about them. Luton, they did score from an indirect free kick. And let's have a look at cross completion. Cross completion, 12%. They're really not much to worry about in terms of their cross completion. And one of the reasons that might be is we need to just check their forward. They're playing with one up top, and we'll have a look at their players. And he is 6'3", their striker, but cross completion was poor, so I'm guessing that their crossing was pretty poor. Or maybe they just had an off day. We'll have to try and figure that out. But we've had a look at this now. There's nothing much to worry about. And in terms of training, I think we should be focused on our own game. And we should be working on stuff for ourselves. And so I'm going to slip in another chance conversion here, because I really want to keep that going. I want us to practice. And we'll probably thinking about defensive shape, hold our defensive shape. So yeah, we'll do defensive shape in the morning, and then we'll do chance conversion. What am I doing? Chance conversion in here, and then we'll do defensive shape. I've now lost. There it is. We'll do defensive shape, just so that, because we are asking them to hold their shape, so we will just keep them practicing holding their shape, practicing transition. I don't think that we need to focus on Luton much at all. And is there anything here way out of my price range at the moment? There just doesn't seem to be anything here. Even someone like Joel Pirou, 6.8 mil. I have 500,000 to spend at the moment, and nobody's coming in for the players that I have. So nothing happening on the transfer front of any note. I need to get money in, and at some point with these players, the game is playing a waiting game with me. It's trying. I mean, I've always believed that of FM, that it makes you panic. It wants you to panic. So it wants me to think nobody's coming in for him. So I'll transfer list him. In panic, I will transfer list him, and then this value will go down. So it wants me to panic. So I'm not going to let them. I'm not going to let the game make me panic. And we'll see. There's still a long time left, 30 days left of the transfer window. We'll just see how long I can play this waiting game for. And I'm going to progress now through the week. And then I will be thinking about the Luton team and how I need to actually break them down. And on Wednesday, before my training, when it gets to Wednesday, I will go and have a look. Oh, that's wonderful that Balick has got himself injured. He might be okay, though. He might be still okay to play. My injury list is horrid. And they're not doing, the training they're doing is not that difficult for them. But that's FM. It is what it is. So when I get to Wednesday, I'm going to go and have a closer look at this Luton team. So I'm going to go to their schedule. And this game against Birmingham, we're going to examine what actually happened against Birmingham. I want to watch the goals to begin with. I just want to see how they were scored against, and also how they scored. Okay, it's fairly straightforward. I don't want the sounds on. That'll annoy you. So actually Birmingham looks like went 2-0 up. And that's nice. Short passing outside the box, we can do that. And cross into the box. It's a ball cross. So I might actually do some aerial defense, because they did score both from headers. So yeah, looking at the goals, I think we will change the training, and we will go to Thursday. We'll actually change defensive shape to aerial defense. because both goals they scored were from headers. And so hopefully by doing that, we can actually eliminate any chance of that. I may have to look at who I'm playing at centre-back and make sure that they're tall enough. And also the full-backs. I like to have tall full-backs so that they can defend well against forwards at the far post. So we may need to look at that. They do score goals with their head. They also scored late. So I think if we go at them first at the start of the game, then I think possibly we will win this game quite comfortably. So in terms of that, no problems at all. But now I want to take a more in-depth look at what actually happened. And which colour are Luton? Luton are the brown. They had a lot of attacking focus up the right-hand side. So a lot of their attacks came in this area. So what that means for me is that because I'm more defensive on the left, I might be quite vulnerable down here, down there right. So what I might have to do is switch things over. And the tactic is built so that can happen. And we'll see how that works in a minute. But I want to just find out a little bit more. You can see that much of their play, they didn't have much of the ball, but it's concentrated mostly down here in the right-hand side of the pitch. And if we have a look at, we can have a look at that heat map in a little bit more detail. And you can see most of their play is down here on the right. There's a little spats of play further forward down here on the left, but mostly they were trying to get the ball out here down the right. And so looking at the pass combinations then, let's just take that out. And if we look at the pass combinations for Luton, if I can get them up here. For Luton, it's not great. Much of it is going, whatever they had is down this left-hand side. They didn't really have, down the right-hand side, they didn't really have anything else. This fullback is very, very high up the pitch. And also, this fullback is quite high. So they're compressing a lot of stuff, which is good news. Their passing map is all over the shop. And when we look at our passing map in a second, you'll see why this is really poor. The goalkeeper is kicking long. This is really quite interesting. The goalkeeper is kicking long towards this fullback. And, well, who is this guy? James Bree. He's their go-to player, the goalkeeper's go-to player. And I think that we could stop the goalkeeper doing that without any problem at all. So the goalkeeper seems to be sending the ball out here. He's trying to combine on the right-hand side. They're trying to make a little triangle here. It hasn't worked for them so far. A little triangle here. It hasn't worked for them so far. But he did have a good game. The fullback, both fullbacks had good games. So we need to be wary of their fullbacks. The centre-backs were absolute pants. 6.3, 6.4. I wonder why that was. He's only, for a minute, I thought it said 8 foot. But he's only 6 foot tall. And the other geezer, 6'5". So he's a very, very tall guy. But for some reason, both of those fullbacks had absolutely dreadful games. He had a nice game, and up front he got 2 goals. He's obviously very dangerous. We need to be making sure that he doesn't get the ball. That's the idea of this. We don't really want to be tight marking him, closing him down. His dribbling is good. He's good finishing. His pace is decent. He's very strong. We don't really want to be getting too close to him, but we need to be stopping him getting the ball. And so that would be our idea in terms of playing this Luton team. Focus on our own game, keep the ball away from them. We don't want to be giving away free kicks, and therefore probably don't want to be getting stuck in. If we go and have a look at our last match, looking at their passing combinations and ours, then you'll see a huge difference. And in terms of where we were, passing was in this area in the main, which is where my DLP lives, and that's where I want the game to be played, here around the DLP. A little bit down here, probably when we were defending. But if we look at our passing map, there's a much more even spread of passes. Players are able to find other players. We have an issue here, and we might need to think about why Cullen is having a bit of a job getting involved in the game. He does link up, but there is a little bit of an issue here with between him, Vitinho, and Bastian, and there's a big issue with Teller not being able to link up with any of them. Pass combinations for Teller don't even register as a line. So that's why in part I've decided to play somebody else, try playing somebody else up top. He had a terrible game, just getting a 6.4, I think, had a dreadful game, never got involved. But in terms of our passing combinations, it looks a lot better than Luton's did on their screen. So really what we want to be doing is focusing on our own play, and then just making sure that Luton are not allowed to play on that right-hand side. And we certainly want to be stopping the goalkeeper from looking for the right wing back or right full back. So we will just move ahead to the game. There's nothing more that I really want to do. I've had a look at how the goals were scored. I've had a look at the dangerous players. There doesn't seem to be anything in that team that I should be worried about. Hey, Gobby, it's going good. Going good. And so there's things that are going on that I really don't need to be worried about with Luton. But they're probably going to be areas that I need to concern myself about. And in terms of my tactic, if they are going to be playing down this right-hand side with my fullback going absent, that could leave me with a problem. So it might be as wise to switch this over. And maybe what I needed to be doing is to copy this one and then switch it over. So this fullback now would go on support. This fullback will be on attack. My DLP will move over to the other side. The box to box will move over to that side. Vitinho will move down to here. He can do that. He's a very, very good inverted winger there. Rodriguez will move over. We'll have... I need to know his name. Dervisoglu. Dervis. We'll call him Dervis. We need Dervis over there, and then we can pop the right winger up there. He needs to play as a winger on support. And then we'll have him as an inverted winger on support. So we can actually change the system over. If they are really threatening us down the right, then I can just flick this over and then I can just clear it before the next game. This is kind of like plan B. If they really start giving us a hard time down here, then I will just flick it over and tell them, let's play it this way. Let's Let's actually shut that down, and then we'll play more attacking down this side. So we'll start off as we normally play. That's the way the boys have been trained to play. Their familiarity with the tactic is getting better. There are still aspects that they're not very competent at, but time will tell. I'm not expecting a great start. They're getting better. It was down here a couple of weeks ago, so they're getting more familiar with it now. Still a few things to be worked on, notably their position roles. So that's my fault because I keep tweaking them. But hopefully we can settle into this now. But then if Luton start dominating the game down the right, we'll just flick it over and we'll close that down. And then we will focus our play over on our right. So that's the game plan for this. Nothing changes. And we'll have a plan B in case we are getting bombarded down the side that they want to play. But the game plan will be to actually make them play on the side they don't want to play. I want to defend down the left, so I want them to play down the left, not the right. And I'm going to go with my team, not with yours. I need to try things out. You can go to the press conference, though, if you want to be useful. I don't know about Masterclass, Gobby. This is a strange game. FM is a giant puzzle with a million different pieces. And if you get one of the pieces wrong, it might be crucial. And he has said, in answer to the question, who's your tip for the championship? And he's actually said Burnley. Oh, boy. And the players are very happy with that comment. So he's telling the other teams in the championship, we are a very, very good side. And I think we will scout the Dutch League, see what's out there. Just why not? And we'll do 16 to 20, 15 to 25, any scout, any position. I just really want to see what's out there. Why not? If you've got the time, boys, do it. Alan Roche and can now finalise. So we do have a director of football. Actually, I wonder, why doesn't he start doing his job now that he's here? So let's get him to suggest end a contract, striker. And there aren't any. Let's go transfer, striker. And there aren't any for those. Free transfer. Oh, he does have one. Free transfer. And he's a pressing forward. It's not very aggressive, though. But let's scout him. He doesn't look very good to me, although he's got good teamwork, good off the ball. He looks a bit tall for a pressing forward to me. Acceleration's decent for a pressing forward. Good strength. His aggression would worry me as a pressing forward. But hey-ho, let's scout him. He did come up with something. So we need to go and play football. Yeah, complex and frustrating. It frustrates the hell out of me. The fact that this Burnley team don't have a striker and they can't buy one for love or money, that's how the game frustrates you. The game is at the moment, I was saying earlier, the game is trying to get me to panic. And I'm not going to panic and sell players, put players on the transfer list. And now it's going to find these little gems for me that I can't afford. It's just trying to make me panic and waiting to see if I will wait. Now that guy's a pressing forward. I like him. He's got, especially as he can use both feet. That guy could play as a pressing forward. But 4.4 million, I need to sell a player. But we'll just pop him on the short list for 3 months. Why not? That boy could play as a pressing forward, and he would be a very, very good one. Calvin. Hopefully injuries ruin you. You don't want injuries, mate. Don't. I think you mean don't ruin you. Well, good luck with that save, mate. And I hope I'm not disturbing you too much in the background there. So game seems always to be getting further away. Birmingham nil, Huddersfield 1. So I guess that means that no, Huddersfield lost their first game. Of course, we beat them, didn't we? But I'll just go through these as I would normally perhaps think about going and doing the whole team. Maybe it just depends. Sometimes I'll do the whole team and sometimes I'll just do the 3 that it brings up here. And keep praising your players because morale, this game should be called Morale Manager. So you need to keep praising them. But I don't like to overdo this because they keep coming back to me and saying that, oh, you get on with your job, you're just spending far too much time praising us. So once a fortnight, do them all. If it's just on the other weeks, just do the 3 that it suggests. Expectations for this game against Luton is a win. I was expecting that. Achena can now become a physio. Oh, that's good. We got a physio. But the transfer is blocked. One of these can't work as a physio. Yeah, this guy. So we don't really need him as a physio. So we'll just make sure that we've got someone in the club who can perform as a physio. That's why we're paying him. And Achena is a very good physio. For this championship level, he's a very good physio. I keep doing that, asked to recommend a signing, and it keeps saying that it will turn up in the scouting centre. I've never seen them. Never ever seen them. So if anybody can tell me where they are in the scouting centre, I'd be delighted to know. Players are fit. I'm just hoping that Bielik is fit. So we go have a look at Bielik. He might only get through 60 minutes. But I kind of have to play him. Jordan Bay. No, I'm not going to go with your team. I want to try things out. We're going to try and catch them early on. And this is the way we're going to play. Now it comes to the opposition. Now we do know about them is that they want to play down this side. At least that's what was happening in the last game. So we have to go along with that. That's the way that they want to play. With and team instructions, like opposition instructions, tight marking. Closing down. Well, what is the difference between tight marking and closing down? Closing down someone is when they're in possession, closing down the space in front of them. Tight marking is following someone around. The danger with closing someone down, and if you actually look at, say, this guy's an inverted winger, and you ask your fullback to close him down a lot. If he starts coming wandering in here, if you're asking this fullback, he'll start coming inside. He'll follow him. So if you're trigger pressing a lot, your fullback will start following him infield. That will leave a great big space for the fullback or wingback, the left wingback, to get into these places. And also all he has to do is come inside, offload it, quick ball outside. So pressing these boys is not always the best thing, and often if they are being a nuisance, then it's best to tight mark them. The best thing you can do if they're being a nuisance is hard tackle them, and then you're not getting out of shape all the time. If he is wandering about, you don't want your fullback to tight mark him either. You need to, especially us, it's the way we're playing, we need to hold our shape. So it might be better if you want to tight mark someone to tight mark as a team. So if this guy tends to wander about, then whoever is in that zone, it might be my DLP. If he drops off a little bit, it'll be my DLP that tight marks. him. However, if he does do a lot of wandering around, maybe your other defenders are not capable of tight marking him. So these instructions, like, use them, don't use a lot of them. You can follow the game. A lot of people I know, they just fill these in for every game, and that's the way they play. I don't. If in real life, for example, let's say you're Pep Guardiola or Liverpool in their heyday, do you think Liverpool would have spent a lot of time worrying about the opposition in midweek? Not at all. They would be focusing on scoring goals, opening teams up. They would believe we're one of the best teams in the league. We've got to win this, and we've got to find a way to win it. They're not going to be worried about their wingers in particular or their centre mid. But if they have a player like they come up against, what's his name? Haaland at Manchester City. Now, what he might do then is ask Van Dijk to tight mark Haaland. And he might do that because he trusts Van Dijk. Because Van Dijk has good anticipation, good positioning. He's very composed. He's got pace. And he has the right attributes to be able to mark someone. He's very strong and good in the air. So he has the ability to mark him. And so he might ask Van Dijk, tight mark Haaland, because he knows Haaland is not going to wander very far from that back line. Haaland is going to sit on the shoulder of the back line, and he's going to wait there till he gets an opportunity. But if he's playing against someone like Harry Kane, who tends to drop deep sometimes in here, and he says to Van Dijk, go and mark Harry Kane, Van Dijk might find himself in this area here. And that gives Son a ton of space in behind Van Dijk to be able to. So what he might do with Harry Kane is use zonal marking. So he will use this kind of marking. So if Harry Kane drops off here, hey STS, hope your dinner was good. I haven't had mine yet. So Harry Kane down here will not draw out Van Dijk. He will then be tight marked by whoever the DM is sitting here. So zonal marking is often going to be better to use. If you really want to do it, it's often going to be much more useful to you than tight marking individually. So I would just go through. I like to put defenders on under pressure. So normally I will turn the defender right onto his left foot. Not because I want to bring him inside specifically, because I'm funneling the team down the middle, but because that's usually where he's most uncomfortable. And this guy, he is more uncomfortable on his left foot. And if we're going to turn him onto his weaker foot, then that will work well with closing him down. So we know this right fullback last week against Birmingham was a nuisance. So this and this will work very well together, because we will turn him onto his weaker foot, put him under pressure, and there is a likelihood then that he will make a mistake. So that's what we're trying to do there. It's not that we're funneling him into a pressing trap. We're just looking at, he was a nuisance in the last game. Let's try and make him uncomfortable. And I don't really think that I want to press this centre-back, not yet, till I've had a look at why the assistant would want me to do that. We know he had a particularly bad game last time. Is that the reason why the assistant wants me to do that? Well, let's look at the other fullback first. Again, I want to turn him onto his right foot because he's playing on the left. And as you can see, his right foot is weak. And in this case, he has outrageous pace. He has outrageous pace. So I got to be very careful about closing him down, because if I'm bombing after him, then he's just as likely to skip past me. He's good agility, good balance, and but he's not very composed. So we could put him under pressure. He's also not very brave. So I think, yeah, we could put this guy under pressure, turn him onto his weaker foot. And now what we're doing is putting both fullbacks under pressure and hoping that they're going to make mistakes. Now this the goalkeeper is another interesting one. He has a very strong left foot and a very strong right foot. He's very, very good. He's obviously going to be very brave, but his composure is not good. And he was calling the shots. And I think I want to force him onto his left foot. And you're probably, why do you want the goalkeeper on his left foot? Well, if you remember, the goalkeeper was feeding this fullback here. Well, if I force him onto his left foot, he's going to have to kick it this way. And looking at what I saw last week, he doesn't want to kick it that way. He's looking for this fullback. Well, it's harder for him to find this fullback on his left foot than it is on his right foot. So it's something to bear in mind. I might. But because both feet are quite strong, probably not going to do it today. I need to have a look at this centre-back because my assistant is telling me to close him down, and it's clear why. He's got dreadful pace. His agility is terrible. He's not very composed. He looks like he could be a weak link. And not only do we want to close him down, but we want to turn him onto his right foot. So he is going to be made very uncomfortable. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. Normally, I wouldn't hard tackle a defensive mid because they're usually quite strong. And I'm not going to go and hard tackle them because they're very, very strong. And my players won't like it if I ask them to do that. Sometimes I will close them down. And one of them looks like he's going to sit in the hole, and the other one looks like he's going to be more of a playmaker. So Campbell, without looking, what does he look like to you guys? Looks like a ball winner to me. I don't think they have a playmaker in there. And on the left, yeah, again, he doesn't look like a ball winner. It doesn't look like a playmaker. So I'm not going to do anything with those two yet because I need to figure out how the game goes. And are they last time when I looked at their stats, Campbell was more on the ball than the other one. But that's part of this little triangle, and we need to cut out that little triangle. So maybe I would type mark Campbell. Just take him out of the game. So that closes off that right-hand side. Maybe I'll stop the goalkeeper. We're going to shut down this fullback. We're going to shut down this fullback. They're going to have to come inside to these boys who have not been playing very well. And then on the wings, probably not going to do much. He has a weak left foot, and his balance, his bravery. Yeah, he has pace, acceleration, so we're just going to put him on his left foot and hard tackle him. The best thing that you can do is hard tackling and using these closing down and weaker footing combinations. Even if this guy has huge pace, it's not a big issue. He's not very brave. He doesn't have the greatest of composure. His composure's terrible. So not brave, not composed. He's going to get himself into a mess. And if we put pressure on him and he's on this right foot, the chances of him making a mistake are high. And Luke Berry, a lot of people just say go and type mark these people out of the game before anything happens. He could be a pest. He has both feet are fairly reasonable. What we do know about him is he's not good in the air. And he's, again, not very composed. His long shots are okay, I suppose. So what I might be tempted to do with him rather than close him down is maybe just type mark him. But I'm going to keep an open mind on that. He did have a very, very good game last time, so might be an idea to type mark him. And then on the left wing, they have what looks like an inverted or an inside forward. Probably an inside forward. He's got good dribbling and good pace. He's not very strong. So the best thing, as I've said before, to deal with these players, and my assistant's got it there, just hard tackle him. And he will not like it if you're just going in and putting the boot into him and giving him a smack. He won't like it. He's not very brave. And the only thing you can do with him is unsettle him at this stage. And then my assistant's wanting me to tight mark. His pace is good. I don't know if I want Harwood Bellis or any of the other defenders getting too tight to him. You can see he's not very aggressive. I actually don't want them getting too tight to him. I'm just going to take that off and put him onto, what was his weaker foot? His weaker foot was his left foot. Turn him onto his left foot. I think it's probably the best way to deal with him. We'll see how that works. One of the problems that you might have with a target forward, he is tall, he's very good in the air, he can turn on a sixpence, he's got good balance, good agility, and if you get too tight to him, then you are open to flick-ons for people who are runners. And so I don't want to get too tight to him. If he wins the ball, he wins the ball. We'll just hold our shape and defend against whoever is coming in. Never have this much patience. Yeah, I mean, I know. I mean, when I'm doing my YouTube Saber STS, I don't have this time either. I just like it when the whole idea of this is me getting under the bonnet. And it's very difficult to understand how you should set this up. And I've probably gone overboard because less is more in this game. And you've all heard people say when you're setting up tactics, less is more. So really, a lot of this could be done in game. I'm deciding at this point that I'm going to preempt it a little bit because I do feel that if I stop the fullbacks from playing, if I can panic the fullbacks, and they do look like they could be panicked, if I can stop the goalkeeper from finding this fullback here, then I'm going to make them play in a way they don't want to play. I want them to play down this left-hand side. So I want to channel everything down this left-hand side. And that's what I'm going to try to do. So by doing that at the beginning, it might not work. And I may have to change it in-game. But we shall see. Because now we have to go and play a football match. And I look at this, and I look at this star rating, and I think, gosh, this is such a good football team. I think this is a very, very good football team. But it's up here that we have the problems. And today I've tweaked it a little bit because I want to try, what is this guy's name? Dervizoglu. I want to try Dervizoglu as a complete forward. He's hopeless as a pressing forward, which is what I want to play there. And he seems to be ideal. I might even try him as a false nine, because if he can't score, then maybe he can put some of the others into scoring positions. I don't know. We'll see how the game works out. But in terms of being a complete forward, he does look like he can actually play that role. Nothing seems to be amiss in terms of his ability to play as a complete forward. The only thing is he's not great in the air. But all the rest of it, it does look like he'll do a decent job as a complete forward. So let's go with it, and let's see what happens. Just make sure always that your assistant hasn't switched your subs around, because he does with me all the time. And I don't know how he gets away with that, but he hasn't this time. I mean, I'm looking at that defence to begin with. It looks absolutely solid. And I'm looking at parts of this midfield that look absolutely stunning. I agree that less is more, but yeah, you can spend the first 3 hours of safe setting up responsibility. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely two ways to play this game, and a lot of people will set up their opposition instructions as positions, but then that might not be the best way to do it. And the example I used was, if you do that against Harry Kane, and let's say you set up to tight mark the forward, but then you do that against someone like Harry Kane, then your central defender's going to sometimes find himself in this area. And I just guess I like to set them up game by game. And my life is the game at the moment, Gobby. I've got nothing else to do. And it is good fun. It frustrates the hell out of me, but it's good fun. And we should go and play this football match now. Yeah, we know Balick is not fit. And apprehensive as Sonny Bradley is physically stronger. But he's not having the best of form at the moment, so I don't think he should be too worried. Maybe I will ask Derveliscu, whatever he is called, Dervis, as I'll call him. We'll tell Dervis not to get stuck into ease off the tacos. That's something that we can do for him. If he's a bit worried, we'll just go and tell him ease off the tacos. And I don't want him to trigger press less often, but just if he's worried about the strength, we'll tell him to ease off the tackles. That's not going to do us any harm. And then we are into our team talk. We're favourites for a reason. And one of the interesting things that hey Fran, how you doing? How's your day today? Good to see you. One of the things that I think I might have discovered is that this has to match with what the assistant manager said in his press conference. And the assistant manager said, we are going to win the title. So by saying we are favourites for a reason, that would be going along with what he said. And make sure they're in no doubt as to why. We could also say we're favourites here and I want us to play like it. I think we'll go with what the assistant is saying, and then I'm just going to say I'm expecting to see solid defensive work. I'm expecting to see, because they are weaker than us, and yes, I am expecting to see them doing that. And what I'm going to do, not that, I don't want to do that. And what I'm going to do when I get a chance, it's a long ball over the top, and we should be coping with that. That's always a worry in FM. Cross into the box. Oh, and we have gone a goal behind. And that's a shocker. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to slow down the match speed between the highlights. Bayer made an error. The rest of it, really, I don't know, is just a representation. But that was just poor defending. That was just really poor defending, especially from Bayer. Why didn't he just let it run out? So we're now dropped down to 13. Cornick, where does Cornick play? He's the right winger. I mean, it wasn't much of an assist. We'll just keep an eye on that, though. Interestingly enough, we are not creating any chances. It's all Luton at the moment. They are pretty much dominating the ball. Burnley have had 73% of the possession. We haven't created a single chance yet. We're going to have to come back. I did sense this was not going to be an easy start, and it isn't. Considering how much of the ball we've had and we haven't created a chance yet, what I am going to do is let Bielik roam around a little bit. I need him to get into positions where he can fire in passes, which is not happening at the moment. And I don't think we could have had any sort of key pass here. Our passing percentages are amazing. But we're just not this is the problem with this team. We don't finish chances, and at the moment we're not even creating them. And it is going to be Luton to bring it forward. We have won the ball. Balick. Now that's where I want him to be, and I want him to start dictating the game. Here he is again, and he's on the ball again. Was that a penalty, referee? Yes, I think he's given a penalty. And set pieces is what we're going to score from. So I hope that we can actually get back into the game now. It is going to be Rodriguez, and he has scored, and it's 1-1. We're back in the game. What's worrying me is the amount of chances that we are allowing Luton, which it doesn't seem right. They've had 26% of the ball. Is their counter-attacking really that good? And I think that might have helped us by moving Balick up into midfield, giving him more of a license to roam around. Hopefully that's all it was. And we still only created one chance. And this really isn't good enough. I need to shout at them and demand more. This isn't good enough. Having possession is fine, but we've got to make chances. Luton are defending for their lives by the look of it. Have a look at the heading at the back. They've won pretty much all the headers at the back. So they are tackling. Yeah, they're winning the midfield battle in the 50-50s, it looks like. It's difficult to know what to do. There's nothing much going on at the moment. It seems that moving Balick seems to have solved a problem. I wonder if I need to press higher up the pitch. We are pressing high. Should I go much higher? And then perhaps drop off more. Let's try that. Let's see if that will help us to create more chances. And yeah, we've already had one more chance, or something happened. We just really need to be creating more chances. And there is a long ball. It comes out to Harwood Bellis. Bayer looks for Taylor. It looks like we're going to have a highlight here. Cullen over the top. Can't get hold of it. Nice pass. And here's Brownhill. Brownhill into the box, and that's exactly how we need to play. We need, and this is another example where that overload of players happens on the right-hand side. We've got 4 players all threatening down this side. 3 of them have gone inside. 1 is on the outside. Because it's an underlap, they're crossing from near to the edge of the box. And how do you manage substitutions versus making too many changes? I just worry that too many changes. Now that's an old wives' tale, I think. STS. I think you just make the changes that you need. Like the semi-final for the Preston save in the semi-final against Burnley. I was making changes all the time. You didn't see it on camera. You didn't see it on the video because I edit those things out. Because otherwise you're just sitting around waiting for... But there are times where I know I need to make changes that I'll just pause the game, go very quiet so you can't hear me. And then when I'm editing it, I'll just edit those bits out. So in the semi-final against Burnley, I was making loads of changes. And eventually we won 1-0. So one of the changes worked. I want to have a look at what's going on here. Because I'm not too happy, and I'm particularly interested in Luton's pass combinations. Now, they've had so little of the ball that they're hardly registering any pass combinations, but you can see where it is. It's this little area, which we already identified. This is the problem. That's why they're creating chances. And so maybe what I do need to do, as they are attacking, their attacking threat, as per last time, is down the right-hand side. It might be an idea for me to switch it over. And now I'll focus my attacks down the right hand side, and we'll just close off this little area that they're working with on the left. So that might be a good idea to do. It's always good to have a plan B, and I think I'm allowing them too much space down that side. What can I say? Things are going well, but you're capable of even better. Now I'm going to say well done on controlling possession, because they are totally out-possessing Luton. Luton cannot get the ball at all. And we have had 89% pass completion. That's not good enough. We've also won 90% of our tackles, but Luton have only had 27% of the possession. We've pretty much stopped them from having the ball. And Harry Cornick is somebody I need to worry myself about. And it might be that he's getting too much of the ball, but he's certainly someone I need to worry about. Has he come on as a sub? I don't know. But let's have a look. Harry Cornick. No, he's been on the pitch. So I think we should type mark him. And what I'm actually going to do, is he likely to be an inverted? No, he's a winger. So I'm going to ask, instead of zonally marking him, because he's a winger, I'm just going to ask Charlie Taylor to type mark him. Let's just get him out of the game. It stops Charlie Taylor being any sort of attacking threat, but our attack now is down the right. So let's just get Charlie Taylor to try and take him out of the game. I don't want to zonally mark him because he's a winger. Charlie Taylor can just do that job down the left-hand side. We are just about edging it at the moment. In terms of what's happening, the match momentum is all Burnley. I think it's possible that they just got a freak goal at the beginning. Although, in the match, we have only created 3 chances. Luckily, we've had 2 on target. There is something about our chance creation which isn't great either. But we do have another one, another highlight. Brownhill, though, has been robbed. And he's a ball winner. That shouldn't be happening. And we have won it back, and Brownhill is feeding in. We're in the box again. This is a chance, and it is 3-1. And the game plan works. We focus our attack now down the right. And the game plan, that's game planning. And switch the focus of attack. And then, because they are focused on the other side of the pitch, it's now 3-1. Interestingly, we've had 4 shots on goal, 3 on target, and we've scored 3 goals. This is going to be a tough season. It's going to be a tough season. I'm going to make some changes because I want to try some other players out. This guy, Dervis, I think we're going to call him, is playing very, very well as a complete forward. He's got an 8. So maybe that was a good call. But Luton are a poor team. I don't know what I'm talking about. We should be beating Luton anyway. And I want to try maybe Matt Lowton out as the fullback. I also... Vitinha on the left wing is not playing very well. So Churlinoff, can he play there? No, I don't particularly want to play him there. But I don't have any other choice. Brownhill definitely can't play there. Rodriguez, can he play there? No. I think we'll try Churlinoff there. Maybe we'll change him to an inverted winger. He's okay roaming about in here. So he can do that role. In terms of cross less often, yeah, that makes sense. Shoot less often, probably. You just get him to sit narrower if he's going to flit about in there. Might not sit narrower. And do I need to make any other substitution? Josh Cullen isn't playing very well. Let's try Bastian. Give him a game. Nobody's particularly tired as yet. It's a tactic that doesn't use a lot of energy. It doesn't sap their energy. Hi, Fran. I don't know so much about genius. Sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. And the real test is going to come against Burnley. At this point in the game, I'm going to be watching who is tired on the opposition team. We're looking a lot fresher, and I'm looking for somebody who's going to get overtired on the opposition team. And the reason for that is that I might then want to focus in that area. So if these centre-backs are getting really tired, then I might focus down the middle. The midfielders are very tired. But also, I have Bielik now, who has to come off. He is very tired. And that's a problem now, isn't it? Ooh, that is a problem. I'm going to put Brownhill in as the DLP. And then Teller can come in on the wing. Ooh, that was lucky. As I thought I'd used up my... I thought I had used up my allotted midfield, and I forgot about Bielik, who was going to get very, very tired. Let's get this substitution done. That's better. And they are looking quite tired in the middle. These two are having dreadful times. So actually what I might do is... They are very, very tired now in this defensive. So I'm going to close them down. We are not too tired. So let's close them down. Let's stop them playing completely. And I don't think we need to do anything else in particular. Taylor, I can make a substitution. Let's bring Maatsen on. And then let's run into the last 10 minutes. I think we can probably come back to a balanced mentality now. Just see the game out. 3-1 will do. Chance creation is something that is a worry. Something we've got to look at. Let's just go back onto a more balanced approach now. We've shut those two down completely. I don't think we have anything to worry about now. And that should be game over. Not that one. I keep clicking the wrong one. So I want to move that back up now. Let's get the game done and dusted. And it is full time. And after a very bad start, we pulled it together. And well done, lads. Good win. So we have made 100% start at the moment. The big test now is going to be Watford. And Watford are lounging around at the bottom of the league at the moment. They do have a game to play. So Watford will be a tougher cookie. I'm looking at the time here. It is already 9:30. And I think that demonstrates the value of having a plan B. And when we looked at the pass map during half time, you could clearly see that they were a problem down the right. And I'd suspected that before the match, but I didn't act on it. I thought we were strong enough to actually deal with that. But we weren't, and they kept causing us problems. When we had the plan B, we switched it over, and that meant that we could close down that left-hand side of the pitch. And it just shows the value of having a plan B if you suspect that they might be a problem at some point in particular areas of the pitch. This tactic is very, very simple. It's about keeping the ball. Keeping the ball, though, is not going to make you tons of chances. But the chances that we made them, and we got shots in on goal from very, very near to the goal line. And that's why we scored the 3 goals. And so we're not going to make 20 chances in a game and score 3. We're going to make 5 and score 1, maybe 2. And I think that's something I have to get used to as the save progresses. And have Watford played yet? No, they've still only played one. We are top of the league at the moment. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. But let's go just jump further on until we get to pleased with the comeback. Yeah, we should be. It's a very, very damn fine piece of management. You should be pleased. So it was a good comeback. Fairly happy. I want to see if Watford win their game before Blackburn have gone top now. They won't stay there for long. And Watford are away at West Brom. West Brom won in the... No, they lost. And Watford have narrowly beaten West Brom. So Watford are up in 13. They are favourites to win the league. But at the moment, I'll take 6 points with this team from 2 games. I will actually be happy with 6 points from 3 games. Because this team is not going to be setting the world on fire. I will probably play more defensive against Watford, and I'll see. I'll have to have a look next time at how Watford played, and then we'll put a plan together. We'll put a plan B. And how come I've slipped down now into 3rd? That's not very nice. But 6 from 6 points, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to, at 9:30, it's been an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, so I'm going to call quits to the stream and go and have something to eat, because I haven't had my dinner yet. And we'll come back and play Watford next time. And the idea of this save is that we are going to take our time, go through it as and when, but make sure that we are set up properly, or as best as we can, for each particular opponent. And I hope that it will give people an insight into how I would actually play it if I was just playing a personal save. Unlike STS, I have tons of time on my hands, so I would play it slowly, because that way I can get under the bonnet and look at the individual players, look at how they play as a team. And I want them to play, really, I've always looked at this game like, I know how you play, but I don't want you to play that way. I want you to play in a way that makes you uncomfortable. I don't want you playing in the way that makes you feel comfortable. I remember that badge from FM22, my Watford mini save, closing the Watford gap. I did enjoy doing that, and that was quite a fun save to do. So I'm going to call it quits here for today. Thank you all for coming. It's getting bigger. I think I'm getting more people coming along, and that's really great to see. Good to see all of you who've become my friends over time, STS, Gobby, Jay, and everybody else who's come in. Some have gone. And I hope that you're getting something from this, even if it's just how not to do it sometimes, because I will make mistakes. There is no way. This is a giant puzzle with 1 million pieces, and sometimes I'm going to put one of the pieces in the wrong place. And that's the beauty of this game. It's the beauty of football. It's not always going to work. And oh, sorry, Dan. We're streaming at the moment Tuesdays, Thursdays. It always starts at 8. So put it in your calendar, guys. If you do like watching people suffer playing Football Manager, then this is the place to be, because I certainly suffer when I'm playing this game. We are, though, 6 from 6, and we're having a good time. If we can get a win against Watford, that's going to make me feel very, very happy. So we could even end up with 9 from 9, top of the league. That would make me very, very happy. I'll be happy, given that I still don't have a striker, with 6 from 9. But for now, I'll take, 6 from 6. Okay, guys, thanks for coming. And don't forget, 4 o'clock tomorrow, the final of the playoffs in the Championship with Preston will happen. Don't miss that. And I will see you all live on the next live stream, which will be... I'm not going to do one on Sunday because I'm going to upload an extra Preston video. I'll be back next Tuesday with the next live stream, where hopefully, now that we've know what we're doing, we'll get through 2 games next week and see where we are at the end of those 2 games. Hopefully, another 100% record. Have a great night, everybody, and I will see you all very, very soon.